Hi, followers of the Rural Alberta Business Center. It is Michelle Andrishak, your favorite business coach, interviewing today about the secrets of success. Again, welcome to the broadcast with my favorite business advisor from Business Link in Edmonton. Dale, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Michelle. Happy to be here. And that was a very oddly specific favorite, so I like that. You didn't mention your favorite business advisor at 6 feet high and with a beard.
That's right. That's right. We're sitting in downtown Edmonton with looks like a beautiful day behind you. So, Dale, today we're talking about what it takes to be successful as a small business in Alberta. And I know with your role at the Business Link, you travel all over Alberta, speaking at different events, doing different trainings. I know that you're part of the Central Alberta Small Business Think Tank here in Rocky Mountain House, so you pop in from time to time. So, Dale, tell me a little bit about you, your role, and about Business Link and what Business Link does for Albertan businesses.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Michelle. So for the folks who aren't familiar with Business Link, we've been around for over 20 years. We're one of the old timers in the startup world. We are a nonprofit, and we're fully funded by provincial and federal sources, meaning that almost everything we provide is 100% free. So if anybody is interested in starting a business, then think of us like a great resource for quick answers. If you want to picture a room full of computers and phones and people meeting with clients, then you'll have a pretty good idea of who Business Link is. So if you have any business questions and you need an answer, you can give us a call, you can send us an email, or if you're in Edmonton, you can pop into our head office and we'd be happy to meet with you. And give you an hour of our time or respond back with a quick email about all kinds of different things. Far and away, the questions we get asked the most, Michelle. So if people are picturing like a business helpline, then you've got the right idea. Far and away, the biggest stuff that we answer questions on are around licensing, regulations, basically, how do I start a business in Alberta? And that's probably the biggest one that we get. Followed closely by where do I get money for my business? And that's an area that we ourselves don't provide money, but we can certainly direct you to a number of the other great organizations that can provide funds. A lot of resources there. And then, to a lesser extent, we'll certainly help you with a business plan. We can help you with accounting, with bookkeeping, with basic accounting questions, anything like that. Other than those services, we actually have a team of market research professionals, and those folks can provide market research for you. So if you're interested in starting a business, if you're interested in maybe exploring a pivot or a new idea, then our research team can put together some research for you. They'll put together a report based on what information you're looking for. So think anything to do with the industry that you're exploring, trends, etc. Also think to any kind of demographics or anything like that in terms of the area that you're trying to help out. So we have a lot of that access to those types of information. And
so much on the menu.
I can keep going. We've got a decent sized staff here. We're probably one of the larger ones based on the other nonprofits working in the industry as well. I should probably mention our Ask an Expert program, where you can literally meet with in person or by Skype or by phone and talk with a lawyer, an accountant, a marketing expert. I should point out this is literally the only thing we charge for at this point. We do charge $25 for a 30-minute session. Still the cheapest lawyer you'll ever find.
That's the truth.
It is. What's great about that is, you can just chat with those experts and get that one-on-one advice for taking your business to the next level. Where else are you going to get, the lawyers are very popular, the accountants are popular. I always think that the marketing experts are always really underutilized, right? I mean, being able to sit down with a social media expert, for example, when we have them is I think really invaluable for your business. And I should point out, the only reason that we charge anything at all is way back in the day, we used to not charge and people would no show. And so there's nothing worse than having a $400 an hour lawyer wandering around our offices with nothing to do. So that's really the only, somebody ruined it for everybody. That's the only reason we do that.
It's all about having your skin in the game.
Exactly. Oh man, sorry, Michelle. I feel like I'm rambling here.
No, it's all good. That's great information for our viewers. So, Dale, what is your role at Business Link, and what do you get to do on a day-to-day basis as a business advisor?
Absolutely. So yeah, when I started off, I was on what we call the frontline team. Basically, I was the one responding to those emails, those phone calls, having those one-on-one meetings. I still do that to a limited extent. More commonly, I'll be out on the road. I'll be delivering presentations. I'll be delivering trainings. I'll be meeting with key people in the industry to try to, let them know about Business Link and to line up more of those presentations and figure out how we can maybe have some partnerships going forward. So that's me. I'm usually on the road and meeting with folks.
So Dale, I hear you're a bit of an expert in Alberta on the area of how to start a cannabis business. Is that true?
Yeah. Everybody on our team has different expertise areas, right? My colleague David, for example, is fantastic if anybody has an invention that they're looking to take to market. Audrey's really good with agriculture. Carrie's really great with import-export regulations. JJ is great with immigrant entrepreneurship and nonprofits. We all kind of have our little areas of expertise. Cannabis just happens to be one of the ones that I picked up. I got really into it and I started putting together a bunch of information on it. And before you know it, I now have like what I call a cannabis package, an information pile of information I'm more than happy to email to anybody interested in the business. Currently, I think it's up to 8 or 9 pages of just content that I've written, plus a bunch of consulting reports, plus a bunch of market research. Really, it's a bit of an email bender when I send it out. If anybody's interested in that, or if they have any questions about their own cannabis business, they're welcome to reach out to me as well. That
is incredibly valuable. And I know after this broadcast, Dale, your phone's going to be blowing up. Yeah. So tell me, as you travel around Alberta, what are your observations on successful businesses? What does it take to become a successful small business in this province?
Yeah, great question. I mean, it's really a list of improbables, isn't it? It's a combination of hard work, and sometimes we'll see folks, or I've meet with folks, and I can just see the drive, right? They've got that something in them that you just know that they're not going to sit back and overanalyze something to death. They're doers. They're going out there and they're gonna just launch that business. And so, sometimes you can just see it right away and you're like, okay, anything I can do to help this person, because this person's gonna fly. And then way back when, I'll be able to point up and say, look, them, I talked with them one time and was able to help them out a little bit. Take some measure of small success with that. I really do think that there's a certain drive, and as well, just somebody who makes connections happen.
So that drive, that special secret sauce, is it mindset? Is it energy? Is it a combination of all of that?
I feel like I'm just calling it an intangible at this point, Michelle. It's that certain combination of going and getting it done, and then at the same time too, maybe an element of luck, right? We all know people who are just a little bit luckier than the rest of us, and manage to get things happening and things go right for them. And that could happen to anybody. So if that's not you, then there's nothing that says that you can't go out there and take your shot, and maybe your lucky break will happen as well. I don't want to dissuade anybody from giving it a go.
That's true. It's not. I think it's probably better odds than winning the lottery if you have the right tools, the right supports, the right resources, the right plan. You definitely have a little bit more. Supports from Business Link, supports from the Rural Alberta Business Centre, and Catapult Entrepreneurs in Red Deer. There are so many supports available, so it's not as risky as it once used to be when you were going out on your own.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I should also mention too, failure is a big aspect of success, right? Those of us who've gone out, we've done our business, and we've made mistakes, have dramatically, exponentially improved our chances of succeeding the next time around. So definitely don't be afraid to go out there and fail at your first business and your second business and your third business. I myself am a failed businessman, proudly. I mean, I'm not proud at how the business failed. Let's just say I learned an awful lot about accounting since those days, right? But so it's something now that I can point to when I'm talking with clients and say, okay, don't do this, don't be a Dale, and do this the right way.
So when you're saying don't be a Dale, well, tell me about some of the things you learned from your failure, and what are some things that you would give the tips to the small business owner clients that you're working with?
Sure. So I mean, it's funny, like this stuff is really obvious to those of us who've been in business or those of us who advise in business. And it's fairly embarrassing, but I don't shame easily, Michelle, as you know. So I'm happy to embarrassingly talk about it.
It's all about that vulnerability, and we can learn from everyone's vulnerability.
Yes. Are you getting a lot of backlight? It looks like there's a lot of backlight.
There's a little bit of backlight behind that. Yeah.
Turn the monitor around if you think that would help.
Sure, that would be great. I think it's a little bit dark on your face there, so I think that would be a little perfect. Now we get a tour of what a Business Link office looks like.
Yes, this is the worst tour ever. I'm basically giving you the tour of the small room that I'm currently sitting in, where we meet with clients.
That's okay. Now we can feel the experience.
That's right. Yes, the full immersive Business Link experience.
That's
Virtual
right.
reality at its best, folks. Yes, I was about to embarrassingly tell you about my failures as an entrepreneur. Don't want to miss out on that. So for those of you, so a little background. I used to be a distributor for Old Dutch potato chips, and so I operated a big delivery truck. If you'll picture a delivery truck about 25 feet long, that was me running around selling and displaying and really doing a lot of retail functions in a store. I ended up running the business for 6 years, so no small matter. I'm at least proud of the longevity.
The 6 years is pretty good when most businesses
Absolutely, exactly. So yeah, what did I do wrong? What didn't I do wrong? So when I initially set up the business, I absolutely had no idea what I was doing and got zero advice. But I did eventually manage to stumble my way into getting a license and registering and getting a business number. So that was not well done by any stretch of the imagination. So please feel free to call Business Link for help with that. But the part I really failed at too was the accounting side of things. I took on I don't want to call it, it's not really a franchise, but a distribution agreement with a company, and they were the ones who handled the paperwork side of things, right? And so I had no real understanding of the accounting, which I think is a big failure. The second thing I did wrong was I got some bad advice from a friend of mine who told me, oh, don't worry about it, Dale. You won't have to pay taxes with all your write-offs. And that was a big no-no. Mm-hmm. And so what I ended up doing is not putting away what I now advise people to do, which is 25 to 30% of your income for the tax man. The other thing too is I had no idea about GST. And so, GST just became a part of my income as well. And so by the end of a year, I'd managed to get my accounting done. Quite difficult, by the way, because it was not a simple system by any stretch of the imagination. But once I got that once I managed to get that accounting done, I was revealed to owed 10 grand, 15 grand. And that was not something I was planning for. That was not money I had set aside. And let me tell you now, the tax man, the CRA, is not somebody you want to owe money to. They charge, I think, at a rate of 5% a month. So they're thugs. They're awful people to owe money to. And so now when I talk with clients, I break it down. I'm like, it's like I say, Michelle, it's obvious to us now, but for somebody who had no idea about business, right? It never occurred to me that, hey, I'd have to put aside a chunk of taxes every year. And, oh, I probably shouldn't spend the GST money. And, should I really get into a system where not even the staff with the company I was distributing for could describe how the accounting worked in terms of how I would be getting paid. So, a lot of really basic mistakes that, like I said, it took me years to dig myself out of the hole that I got into from a tax perspective. So yeah, definitely better to do it right the first time around.
Mm-hmm. Learn the numbers.
Yes, exactly.
So as you travel around the province, looking at different success stories, can you share one of your clients' success stories and how they achieved the success?
Oof. So I hesitate a little on this one for a couple of reasons. Number one, we kind of make it a policy not to directly name any of the clients. So if, just for confidentiality reasons.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Secondly, Business Link is a volume business. So Michelle, you're going to provide amazing one-on-one advice. Business Link is going to help 1,500 people in a month. So we're very much a volume company.
Right.
For me, the clients that are a success for me are when they reach out to me for financing and I'm able to help them get that financing. Or I've probably personally helped set up, I think I managed to confirm about 6 cannabis businesses within the province, who I have not followed up with. So I don't know what stage they're at right now. But several of them I've had many interactions with as they were struggling to get that business up and going. Everything from regulations, before we knew what the regulations were, right up to, hey, where can I get money for this type of business to get going? Or how do I, for a while there, the big struggle was how to determine who's going to get a different area, right? And so that was before the rules were coming out. So we were working on all kinds of different strategies and different things. But yeah, that's the one thing I'm proud of is there are several cannabis businesses for sure that have opened up in the province that I'm happy to say I've managed to have a hand in. I certainly won't claim, I know how hard it is to open a business, so I don't want to claim any more credit than I'm deserved. But I was able to give them some advice and they kept coming back to me. So I'm flattered by that, and I'm flattered by my clients who continue to come back to me for advice on their specific business.
Absolutely, and that's a lot of volume. So advisory service is so important. But knowing that as you travel around, what do you see small businesses struggling with, and how are they overcoming those struggles?
Yeah, you bet. Well, so I mean, based on the phone calls alone, the ones that people who are calling are aware of is the regulations. They don't know about the regulations. They don't know the situation with financing. So that's the stuff people are aware of. Now, whenever I get business plans, for example, which I'm happy to review before they go to the banks, the problems I see are that people don't really have a good handle on their product, which is really surprising to me, right? Their product or their service that they're offering. They can't talk about, they can talk about it in a general sense and the most basic way possible, right? Maybe they're, launching a nursing business where they're going house to house. That's a fairly common one for us. So they're able to say, yes, I'm able to do that, but they're not able to say how it is that they're going to be different from everybody else. What they're adding, what kind of value are they adding to the client, to this business? It's already maybe a busy field. So what are you going to be doing differently than everybody else that's out there doing it? Cleaning companies is another example where we far and away get more cleaning company businesses than any other business. And it's easy to see why. Anybody who's in a cleaning company business working for somebody just says, oh, well, these clients are approaching me and they'll pay me direct. So all I need to do is start a business. So great, you're starting that business and you'll have that one client. How are you going to get the rest of the clients? And what's going to separate you from probably the literally thousands of other cleaning companies that are out?
Understanding the unique selling proposition.
Exactly. And that completely ties into marketing, which is another one where people don't have a concept of who their target audience is, how they're going to reach that group and why it's important to have a small group of people that you're wanting to reach directly rather than just singing into the wind and throwing your advertising dollars out the window and hoping that somebody stumbles upon it lying on the ground.
I call it the spray and pray approach.
Shotgun marketing is another one.
You throw your marketing message out absolutely everywhere, spray a ton of money, and pray something comes back.
Exactly. And where it'd be so much more effective to say, you know what, rather than try to target, let me give you an example, because examples are much better. So a client of mine, he runs a business where he goes to Fort McMurray and back to Edmonton. He has a nice vehicle. He got it all fixed up. And he does, anybody who's working up there wants a ride home, and that's the kind of service he provides, right? So it's kind of a driving service. So I was talking to him, and he wanted some marketing advice. And we always cringe when anybody walks into the office and says, I want some marketing advice. Should I do postcards or should I do billboard, right? And that means that they have no idea who their customer is, what their unique product is that they're selling, and why it'll appeal to a specific target audience, and why that product is tied to the pricing and the promotions and the locations. And anyway, so this guy came in, and so we started brainstorming some different marketing ideas. And I'm like, well, why don't have you looked into something like a Facebook ad? And he said, well, yeah, I tried it once. I put whatever it was, $50 on it. And I'm like, okay, great. Who did you target it to? And he's like, target it? I'm like, why would I want to do that? Yeah, I want everybody to know about my business. And it was like, well, so what him and I ended up doing is we went onto his Facebook page, and we found a work camp, where when the guys aren't working, they're on their social media and and we narrowly targeted a small space. I think it was like 50 kilometers was the smallest we could do around that building, right? And so we very specifically, very targeted men in their working ages who are within 50 kilometers of a camp. And it was the world of difference, right? And we threw a little bit of money at it. I called them a week later, a little nervous, because that was the first time we've ever, generally speaking, I'll give advice, but we don't outwardly spend the money like that in front of me to see how we did. And he said, oh, I threw more money into it. It was working so well, right? And so there are ways where, like this guy's getting business by putting $50 on a Facebook ad that's specifically targeted to a small area. So that kind of thing is something that most people think they know marketing, but they're not thinking about marketing, right? Right.
That they haven't identified who their most valuable client is yet. Or, once upon a time I'm old, I can date myself. We used to call it the target market or the target audience. Now the new lingo is the I call it MVC, your most valuable client, or your target avatar, to identify what that person looks like, what their behaviors are, demographics and psychographics combined, and allowing that to navigate your marketing message and your platforms. So yes. Yeah, that's a really important thing to know when you're starting a business. Is like, who is going to be your MVC?
Yes. And even just tying it to the product, like that's the one that blows my mind. I'm like, if you're offering a low end you're going to compete on price, make sure, your product is of quality so that you're paying less for it so that you can compete on price, and make sure that your promotions are tied to the fact that you're a discounter. Maybe you're running coupons and stuff like that, right? Or the opposite, if you're a quality product, make sure that the product is quality, make sure it's priced accordingly, right? And don't discount, because that'll minimize your product. Maybe you'll want to do a lifetime warranty, or a money back return if you're not satisfied, right? Those would be much better promotions for something like quality. So people have to think about it as a complete package.
Absolutely. So as we segued into marketing a little bit, so what is your best marketing tip for the small businesses that you serve, and the marketing that you see the small businesses throughout Alberta using what's the best avenue for getting the message out to your most valuable client?
Oh boy, tough one. And I think I almost gave you my best, but I'll give you my second best instead. So what I like to do is encourage people. So this is a real trend in business, and something that's happened within the last 5 to 10 years is making your marketing actually accountable to the dollars that you're spending. So online has done a great job in saying, okay, look how many people interacted with this product, how many people clicked into your ad. And so you can actually see the end results of it. So if you're paying $100 on this ad and it's resulted in sales of $200 for you, then it's worthwhile for you to do it. Now, my tip is, or my out there tip is, so beyond, you can actually duplicate that with some of the more physical advertisements as well. So maybe you're running a yellow page ad, maybe you're putting up a billboard, et cetera, et cetera. There's nothing stopping you from having a different web URL listed on there. So, maybe I'll have businesslink.ca, or maybe I'll have, businesslinkhelps.ca on my billboard, and I'll be able to see as a landing page how many people click into that website to see how effective it is, to see if that billboard's giving me value. I could post a phone number. It's pretty easy to get a second business line, and the phone company can help to track how many calls are coming in from that specific business line. So again, if I'm testing the merits of that billboard, and maybe I'm in a business where people need to call me for access, then that might be a way to get a real legitimate number, is how many people are actually calling me through this secondary business line. And you can actually point to those figures, those numbers, to say, this is working, this isn't working. So gone are the days of marketing, the set it up and pray that it'll work. Now you can actually see whether or not something's effective by testing those assumptions that you're making about the money that you're spending. And then there's always the good old fashioned, how did you hear about us? But that's going to end up with a mix of results as well, right? Because people may have seen your billboard, and then they were looking for you through the phone book or through online, and found you that way. So which one actually led them to you? Well, that's still up in the air.
I love that. Making your marketing strategies accountable and measuring them. So important, because you're absolutely right. You might be throwing money out there and it's just not converting to a return on investment, whereas another strategy, another pathway just might.
Yes, exactly.
So when you are looking in all your travels throughout Alberta and all the industry changes that have happened over the last 5 years, what industry changes are happening to impact small businesses in Alberta? And do you see a lot of, that pause and a lot of pivoting into new industries and new paths as industry changes? So can you tell me a little bit more about what you see out there?
Yeah, there's some interesting trends in the last few years alone. So first and foremost, I don't think I'd be observing the whole situation if I didn't at least address the elephant in the room in Alberta, which is low oil prices, low oil and gas prices equals people interested in starting businesses. Mm-hmm. There's a direct relationship to unemployment and people suddenly deciding that they're interested in getting self-employed. And so we've definitely noticed a huge uptick in phone calls and emails when people have been unemployed for a little while, or maybe the economy's not looking good, for folks looking to start. Because obviously Alberta is oil and gas driven. My little joke used to be, you could walk into a mall, go up to the cell phone kiosk, and the kid would ask him how business is, and the kid would say things are slow because the price of oil and gas are down for our cell phone company, right? So so that definitely has a major effect on anything and everything moving around here. Other than that, there are some really cool and interesting businesses that are coming out. Things like drones have really spawned a number of different businesses, some of which are related to oil and gas, some of which are incredibly diverse. And I really wish I could tell you about some of the really crazy and wacky ideas out there. But people are using drones for all kinds of stuff, largely B2B activities. And so, there's some great opportunities for that. Obviously, cannabis has broken the world a little bit here in Canada. And so there's been a huge amount of cannabis retail stores that have opened up. The amount of producers are multiplying, and now that the rules have kind of softened a little bit about production, it still requires a lot of money, people, if you're interested in growing. But there's going to be tons and tons of different production facilities out there, and even just the industries that have popped up. I mean, two of the biggest within 5 years companies are cannabis companies, both making over $5 billion a year in Canada. I mean, it's just an astronomical shift that way. Otherwise, what else is new? We're starting to see a little bit more on Internet of Things. Okay. So from a technology standpoint, so for those of you who aren't familiar with Internet of Things, basically it's like, I'll keep things super simple. Basically, it's like putting like a computer into standard things like your fridge, and then it would give you some sort of feedback on that. So one of the ideas that I personally don't know anybody doing, so I must have read it somewhere, so I can talk about it, would be maybe putting something in a fridge, and it would tell you or send you a message when you're out of milk or when you're running low on certain groceries. So a lot of clients are actually using those electronics to measure things. And like I say, I can't get into it too much, but there's certainly some opportunities for using that type of technology to break through.
Absolutely. What are you seeing for small businesses as you travel throughout the province, and the impact of huge online stores like Amazon or the large chains going full force on the web, and the impact that it's having on small business in both urban and rural locations? Yeah,
it's funny. I haven't talked with a lot of retailers who are complaining necessarily about that impact. In fact, the trend that I'll see, and I keep in mind I'm in my own little tunnel here, but what I see more often is a lot of people starting drop shipment type businesses. So again, drop shipment is when you have a company where you facilitate a sale online, and then a manufacturer will directly ship a product to your customers. So you'll work out an agreement with the manufacturer to, sell toilet paper. And then if somebody buys that from your website, the manufacturer will directly ship it to the customer. And that takes away a lot of your regulations, because you've got to, deal with all the different, carrying on business / taxation rates in each province, in each country. So I'm seeing a lot more people actually using Amazon to get businesses going. That's where I see that kind of impact happening.
And as you move through, advising small businesses, that as you do, and the small mom and pop type of business, the business that has 50 employees or under, is what we typically say is a small business. So when they're looking to increase their sales, what's the best tip for increasing a business's bottom line?
Wow. So I'm old school sales. So for me, I believe in the line, sales solves a lot of problems. So yeah, if you can manage to, if things are bad, your prices are high, your supply issue, anyway, just having extra sales can really help you get over any kind of clumsy actions or bad business running that you're doing. So first and foremost, make sure that end of things is covered. I also recommend, the opposite end of that, of course, which is to really kind of nail down your suppliers and continue to make it an ever-going process to try to find better suppliers and people who can provide it for less. And part of that too is just increasing how much you're able to sell. So it's kind of an ongoing mixed bag of promises, but keep on working towards keeping your prices low, your product quality high, and increasing your sales, and that kind of combination won't fail. So I guess that would be my advice on that one.
Absolutely. As you learned in your first business, managing those numbers so you can keep your expenses under control as well.
Yes, definitely.
So when you are talking to businesses, I know in my coaching experiences, a lot of entrepreneurs get so excited about running into business for themselves. It's almost like they jump off a cliff and try and figure out the parachute on the way down.
Yes,
So
definitely.
how important is it to take a breath and build a business plan?
Wow. So that's such a specialized question depending on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like before I started working here, I would have said, no, make sure you look into everything and plan it out and do your research, da, 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 da. But so often I've actually seen successful entrepreneurs who utilize the parachute metaphor that you use. They jump out there and they just try to figure it out as they go. So really, this is about personality types. You know, for me, the part I want to caution people against is me. I'm the opposite. I'm the overstudy, overanalyze. And then once I've got everything all figured out, I'm already bored with the project and I'm not interested in launching it. And so since our mandate, Michelle, is to help people grow their businesses, then you know, I want to stay away from, I strive people not to be like, don't be like Dale. This is the takeaway today. Don't be like Dale and don't overanalyze it. And, you know, don't be afraid to get your feet wet and to commit to it. That said, one of my favorite pieces of advice is all about doing your market research and how people just aren't doing their research enough before they launch a business. And so I'll go on my little rant here about this.
I'm all about market research, both primary and secondary, and it's so important to know the environment you're stepping into before you actually put your, you know, it's like putting your toe into the lake to feel the temperature before you just run in and plunge.
Yes, exactly. And so for those of you who are new to the business world, primary research is basically going out talking to people, surveys, that sort of thing. Secondary research is maybe going online or reaching out to Business Link, where we can put together some secondary research that's readily available from the government and from other sources. And so, yeah, my big advice on it is really just to know, first of all, know your industry. But the big thing is, I really want people to go out there and talk to people. One of my favorite business examples is a company called Common Good. They do some really cool things that I don't want to get into at this point because it's going to detract. But what Common Good did when they got their business up and running is they went out, they spent a year going around talking to potential suppliers, people who are in their business, potential customers. And then in their case, because they have a charitable component to their business, they also went out and talked to anybody who's involved in that area of the charitable world to try to see how they could best deal with their business. And after going around talking to 50 different people over a year, they completely trashed their original business plan and redid something entirely different based on that feedback. Now, can you imagine how much money they probably saved by going out there and figuring out that their original plan wasn't going to work? And in fact, here's what their customers wanted. And instead, they customized the product towards what their customers want. The other thing I would add to that, and it's one of my favorite hacks, if you will, for market research, is if you're ever in a situation where you need to know, oh, how much do I charge? As a consultants call us with that one all the time. Oh, I'm a consultant now. How much do I charge for this? Well, you could call the local competitors to see what they charge, and they might tell you. Especially if you're not being fully forthcoming with them. Or you can call somebody in a similar size community, not a competitor of yours, away doing the same kind of work that you're doing, and asking them, and so calling somebody up from Winnipeg and saying, hey, I'm from Edmonton, I'm not going to be a competitor of yours. Do you mind if I ask you about your business and what you would do differently and what some of the smarter people in your area are doing? And then, blatantly stealing some of the best ideas out there to combine them into your own. That's one of my favorite hacks is, you know what? Yeah, if you call somebody in Edmonton who you're competing with, they're probably not going to tell you what the pricing is. But if you call somebody in Winnipeg, they'll probably be happy to help you out and talk about what a great expert they are.
It's a new version of what we used to call research and development, R&D. and as our mutual friend Danielle Klusser calls it, rip off and duplicate.
There you go.
So understanding that people outside your trading area won't see you as a competitor, won't see you as a threat, and you don't have to recreate the wheel if someone's doing really, really well and has created that wheel. It's just an opportunity to learn from them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm my guess, Michelle, is from a target audience standpoint, 43 minutes into this presentation, your people are really, anybody who's listening to this right now, hi, thanks for listening, are probably deep learners. And so I'm going to throw out a couple of books in this kind of world, this area. If you haven't read it already, Blue Ocean Strategy is amazing, and it will change the way you look at market research and how you're designing your product or service. Will It Fly is another one I like, and the author is escaping me right now. But that one is all about figuring out whether or not you're, again, market research, whether or not you're on the right track for getting your business up and running.
Fantastic. So I hear a lot of buzzwords around people in Alberta and beyond starting up what's called a social enterprise, or a social enterprise component to a for-profit business. What is your take on social enterprises? What do they do? How would you set one up? Is it technically a nonprofit, or could you convert a for-profit into a social enterprise as well?
You bet. So to define, I guess, a social enterprise in this case first. So one of the biggest problems with a nonprofit business, and when folks call us up, the first question I usually bring up to them is, are you aware that by starting a nonprofit business, you will completely lose control of your company as soon as you set it up? And they're usually a little baffled by that. But by law, you have to have a board of directors who run your nonprofit when you get one set up. And so for a lot of these folks out there who have these really great ideas and they really want to give to the community and stuff like that, that's a turnoff to them, because these folks are already go-getters and they really want to make an impact, and they want to make a personal impact. So what a social enterprise is it's well, I guess you could operate it as a nonprofit, but we like to reference it as a for-profit business. Basically, it is a business that self-generates funds that also has charitable components to it. So I'd mentioned Common Good earlier. Common Good is one of my favorite social enterprise businesses. What they do is they sell mats. And so I'll just keep it on mats, keep it simple, right? They're the guys who come around and they take the mats away and replace them with clean mats. And their social, so that's their business side of things. Their social enterprise side of things is that they will they hire all the homeless people in the area, and the homeless people are the ones who do the cleaning of the mats, right? And so that's the social enterprise aspect of it. So anyway, that's a social enterprise in a nutshell, is where you're doing a business activity that generates money, and yet at the same time, maybe you're giving back, or maybe you more betterly. Oh, that's a word. More betterly, you've incorporated some sort of social.
Jailism, more betterly. Jailism.
I could have come up with a better one, but that was more betterly. So probably the most famous social enterprise in the world is Tom's Shoes. And Tom's famously, if you go onto their website and you buy a pair of shoes, way back when they started up, the business model was that for every pair of shoes you buy, a second pair of shoes would be made and given to somebody in a foreign country that would need shoes, for example. And I know they've since modified that business model to be more broader and be able to help poverty as a whole. But still, the original concept is incredibly enticing, right? You go, you buy a pair of shoes, and then a second pair of shoes will go to somebody who needs it. And great product, great service. Now, you'd ask me, I guess, about my personal opinions on social enterprise. I'm the team grump on them. So sorry to say, I think they're fantastic. The problem is, as Michelle, as you all already know, it's really hard to get a business going, running, and operating. The failure rate is fairly incredible. And to actually commit yourself to also giving away your profits, or having staffing issues based on who you're hiring or whatever, totally worthwhile. I encourage everyone to do it, but it's just going to make starting a business a little bit harder. And as long as people are aware of that going into it, that in that type of business, more than any other kind of business, they need a stronger business model. They need the support of the people in the community that they're helping, the organizations, etc. And they also need to, and this is the cynic in me, incorporate it into their marketing, right? This is a great differentiator that separates you from your competitors. Let people know about it so that it actually can positively impact your finances.
So connect back value.
Exactly. Yeah, you broke up a bit there, but yeah, that sounded about right.
So Dale, when you are out giving advice to people who are thinking about starting up their business, what are, say, the 5 top steps that they should start with before they open their doors?
Step 1, choose a business that's right for you. So take a look at your skills, take a look at what it is that you want to do, and the type of work that you want to be doing on a regular basis. Make sure that it's the right fit and that self-employment is right for you. So I guess I'll call that one number 1. Are these just 5? Sorry, Michelle, I lost my train of thought there. So these are
no. So you've hit number 1, making sure that self-employment is for you, that you're able to take the risk, and that you can capitalize on your strengths.
Yes.
Personally and professionally.
All right. And so next thing is one, again, that we help a lot with. Make sure you understand the steps and requirements of getting a business operational. So like I said, around here, we'll tell you about licenses and registering a business name and getting a GST number, and even, what kind of stuff you can write off for your business, and maybe connect you with some free accounting software so that you can keep track of your books. But just be aware of the things that you'll need to do on a day-to-day basis. And that's something that we can definitely help you out with there.
Awesome.
Number 3, you don't necessarily have to do a full business plan. We talked a little bit about that earlier, unless you need financing. But I think that everybody should be fully aware of everything that goes into a business plan. Okay, so you don't have to necessarily write it out. I mean, it's a 20 to 50 page document, really. So it's a lot of work. I encourage you, by all means, everybody maybe should go into it and go through the entire process. But make sure that you're aware of all the different steps that go into a business plan. Make sure that you have a good awareness of, what you're actually offering, and, how your operations are going to work, and how much money you need, maybe more than anything else, to get that business up and running, and to have, your projections in line with everything. So if you don't write a business plan, you should at least know what goes into it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And there's a lot of great templates online, and I know through my services at the Rural Alberta Business Center, I coach and co-create business plans for clients, so they walk through every step of the process with a really great understanding.
Yes, definitely go through Michelle's program. If you want a quick email on it, I can send you some templates. I can send you some sample emails. I can send you a form to request market research. And then after you're done writing it, I can do a review. So that's all services that we can offer here at BusinessLink. But Michelle's going to do the deep dive with you, take some of her programming. I assume you do some sort of programming on creating a business plan, Michelle?
Yes.
That kind of hands-on help would be the way to go. Then that's something I'd highly recommend to everyone.
And so what's the
Oof. So this is a personal bias. I think that people really do need to go through the full marketing plan steps. I do think that people need to do the research so that they can understand who their client is, and then take the time to go through a specific target audience, narrow down target audience. I think it requires a lot of thinking, and it doesn't necessarily take a long time to actually go through a full business plan. But I think it would be incredibly valuable to anybody who's getting a business going to think about all those different aspects.
And last but not least, step number 5.
Oh man, be aware of all the amazing help that it's available to you, no matter where you are in this great province. There's so many resources. Michelle, I've been here for 2 years, and just the other day I learned about 3 new resources that I'd never even heard of before that can get a business up and running. Even just being aware of like the help that an economic development team can help you with in terms of the area that you're going to be selling to. So maybe you're in Rocky Mountain House and you're looking for folks with a higher income because you're having a better quality product, as part of your target audience. They can really help you to narrow down into different communities, right? Or different areas or different, so some of the economic development folks are, in my mind, underutilized. There's some great resources there. And then two, there's so many specific organizations and industry help. There's even government help that seems to even duplicate our own work. So, there's really no shortage of resources out there for sure.
And online resources as well as in person with webinars that you can learn. I know Business Link broadcast webinars. There's the on-demand webinar central that I just put together through RABC. And getting those stats for your market research, there's some great Alberta economic dashboards that you can access online as well for your market research.
Does Rocky Mountain have one of those? I know Red Deer has one. That's the closest.
We don't have an online dashboard, but we do have a community profile.
Oh, nice. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and that's available online and in print at the town office.
Awesome. And I know like even Business Link has access to some of those through Stats Canada and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I suspect that the town offices will be able to give you more detailed information.
Absolutely. So Dale, thank you so much for joining us in this broadcast today, The Secrets of Business Success. You covered so much, from how to identify your personal strengths to become a business owner. Do you have that drive? Do you have that mindset? Are you willing to sit down and work through, if not right, but work through the steps of a business plan to understand all the elements? And because, even though you might be brilliant at making coffee, you might not be brilliant at marketing strategies or brilliant at accounting, so outsourcing those as well. So if you want some more information from Dale comes to Rocky Mountain House on a quarterly basis for the Central Alberta Small Business Think Tank. And it is, Dale, can you tell me a little bit about your experience? You've done the tank a few times now. What is it like for you as a mentor in the tank?
Without question, the tank is, and I'm not just saying this because Michelle's listening, my favorite event to attend. Literally, it's a room full of local experts in Central Alberta, some of the best and brightest minds in the area. And we sit in a room and somebody comes in, and it's okay if you're shy and if you're a little intimidated by it. I know I was when I first showed up. But yeah, and folks talk about their business, and instantly the ideas explode. I mean, that's a room full of incredibly creative, knowledgeable people with experience in all these different worlds. And and we feed off of each other. It's incredible to see. Literally somebody walks in and they just light a match, and then from one expert to another expert to another expert, all these amazing ideas come pouring out. And then at the end of the session, these poor entrepreneurs stand up a little bit wobbly legged, and they walk out of their office, and their business and their world is a little changed, a little jarring. In some ways, I feel a little sorry for them, because I feel like most people, well, maybe they don't come in a little confident. I don't know if we've ever had anybody who came in really confident, and then we just we broke them a little bit.
Well, I think we're not the sharks of Shark Tank.
No. In the best way.
in the very best way, but where I think we're mindful to be gentle with people, but also give them the honest to goodness truth, and sometimes save them from themselves if possible. And so the think tank format is you sign up for a 2-hour time block to sit in front and present your business struggles and present your successes and just get the ultimate brainstorming experience for your business growth as you move forward in front of 8 experts. Dale, myself, social media experts, other business coaches, HR experts, people who know tons of information about grants for your business. So I'm thrilled to say the January Think Tank is full, but stay tuned to the RABC page, the Facebook page, for an opening of another think tank happening in April of next year. These seats are hot ticket items in Central Alberta, Dale. Once word got out about the success stories of what everyone was experiencing, if you think about it as being in the think tank might feel like drinking from a fire hydrant of information and all you have is a straw, but we do record the session as well. So I know that last time in the think tank, I switched from mentor to mentee, and I have listened to my recording of my session at least 5 times. And every time hear something new and go, oh, right, I remember that. So having that recording is so valuable as well. And it's a steal of a deal at, I think it was like $97 for an opportunity to sit in front of 8 business experts, worth thousands and thousands of dollars for business growth, for sure.
I'd be shocked if not every single person that's been in that room hasn't had their lives rocked and changed in the best ways for $99. I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm way too low, Michelle. Charge more. And guys, make sure that you sign up for Michelle. I'm sure Michelle will create a waiting list for you if anybody wants to reach out and get involved in that, because yeah, it's a really great opportunity for sure.
Absolutely.
And every single one of us sharks, we end up getting, we learn something from each other every single session.
We really do. We really do. And it's such a great, inspiring day for me as a business coach to sit with fellow business mentors and advisors and brainstorm and get creative to provide solutions to build other people's businesses. It's such a great day. So if you want more of Dale, because I know I enjoy sitting beside him at the think tank, definitely sign up for that in April. Don't wait, because those seats, as soon as they open, they go. And so if you want to be a part of that experience, then definitely message me. You can message me on Facebook. You can reach me on the phone, 403-895-1493, or you can email me at michelle@rabc.ca. So Dale, how do people get a hold of you if they want to chat with you one-on-one through Business Link?
Absolutely, yes. So if anybody on listening has any kind of business questions, I'm going to give you the main line, and you can talk with any one of our experts. So you can email us at askus@businesslink.ca, askus@businesslink.ca, or you can call the main line at any time, 1-800-272-9675. Me personally, I'm on the road a lot, so I'm probably not the best person to reach out to randomly, but I am more than happy to chat with you more about your business, or if you want to reach out to me personally, you can email me at dale@businesslink.ca, and I'm going to give you my personal line as well, 780-427-0563, if you want to chat one-on-one.
Fantastic. Dale, thank you for giving us your time today for the Secrets of Business Success broadcast. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in January in Rocky Mountain House when you come to the think tank, and then again in April. So all the viewers, if you're watching this as a recording or watching it live, we thank you for joining us. And stay tuned for next month's Secret of Business Success broadcast with another amazing advisor or entrepreneur who has walked the path before you and is willing to share from their amazing experiences. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, Dale. Bye for now.
Bye, Michelle. Thanks.